Okay, good afternoon and welcome. So this afternoon, it looks like it's starting to get really sunny and beautiful here in Richmond Hill. So that's nice to see. What we're going to need for our class today is a blanket, as always, or two, and a couple of pillows or cushions, and of course your yoga mat or something that's comfortable to lie on. So welcome, and thank you for being here. Today I thought we would focus on the energy body, and in particular the chakras for our opening meditation, and then we'll see where that takes us in our restorative class. So for now, make yourself comfortable in a seated position. It doesn't have to be on the floor. If you have a chair nearby, you're most welcome to set yourself up there. Great, and just let yourself settle in. And just bring your awareness to the fact that there are a group of us here practicing together. So although physically it seems like either we're alone or we're far away from each other, energetically we're together, we're connected, and we're practicing together. And even if you're doing this video later, it still connects you with the shared field here. So see if you can sense that, how sitting here right now feels different than if you were, say, to do a yoga practice on your own. Maybe it feels a little fuller. Maybe there's this capacity to settle a little more easily. And possibly even a capacity to sense a greater degree of presence. So let's just feel ourselves settling on the earth here, just the sensations related to our body resting against the ground and letting itself go into the ground. Noticing any places where we're holding ourselves up and away from the earth. And as those let go, there's a deeper settling. And then simultaneously, we align the crown of our head with the sky above, which might entail lifting the chin a little bit or drawing the ears back. So we're finding this heaven and earth alignment through our body and through the central column that links the tailbone and the crown. And that creates this column of energy or passageway for life force to flow through. And let's connect to our breath at this time, just how it is. You don't need to change it. And in many ways, it's very enjoyable for our being to be invited to just focus on one thing. And yet at the same time, it's not always easy because the other parts of our being cry out for our attention, in particular the mind. But be gently persistent and keep bringing your attention back to the breath. Great. And now let's take a journey through the 7 energy centers, or the 7 chakras as they're called in yoga philosophy. And everybody has these energy centers, whether they do yoga or not. These are part of our energetic anatomy, and these centers are what are constantly working for us to keep our system clear, to draw in energizing, uplifting, and evolutionary energies, and to digest and integrate old energies and patterns that no longer serve us. And our yoga practice is meant to help these energy centers to awaken, to open, to do their job more effortlessly, without the impediments of our mind. And so we're going to journey to each chakra one at a time, knowing that simply putting our attention in the territory of these centers brings a lot of vitality to them. They thrive on our awareness. But don't take my word for it, let's experience it together. So we'll start with the bottommost chakra, which is in the tailbone, often called the root chakra or Muladhara in Sanskrit. And essentially, we're just letting our awareness rest in the area of the tailbone. And we're opening to whatever we notice there, whether it be sensation, images, memories, feelings. And whatever we notice, let that be enough. Let us not clamor for an experience that is different from the experience that we're currently having, or compare ourselves to others' experiences, which of course is always in our imagination. So we're simply putting our attention in the tailbone area, and we're just opening to any impressions that might come forward, whether that be sensations, feelings, memories. And let's layer on top of that visualization of a red ball of energy. So it's hovering there in the tailbone area. And as we inhale, it expands, it broadens, and as we exhale, it contracts. So this ball of red light is breathing with us. And it's radiating its light up and down and in all directions. And if you have a hard time visualizing a color, it's always helpful to think about something familiar that is that color, for example, an apple. Great, and we're not looking for anything. We're just going to pause and spend some time with each center and just be open and curious. And let's slide our attention up to the sacral center, which is between the pubic bone and the navel, in the center of the pelvis. So we just put our attention there. Noticing right away if we are aware of any sensations or feeling tones, a sense of openness or not, a sense of flow or not making anything right or wrong. And there we find a beautiful ball of orange light, which is breathing with us, expanding and contracting like a slow pulse. Beautiful. And sliding your attention up to the solar plexus between the navel and the low ribs. Becoming aware of this territory and just resting here with openness. And here we find a ball of sunshine, yellow light. And it expands and contracts in harmony with our breath. Notice if there's any feeling tone that comes with that color. Our bodies respond to colors. It opens up certain frequencies in our body and helps us to access the full range of our feeling body, of our intuitive body, of our creative body. And sliding our awareness up to the heart center. Getting an overall sense of this area of our energy body. Visualizing a ball of emerald green light pulsating with our breath here. Radiating its light up and down and front and back and in all directions. Be gently persistent in keeping your attention where we are, and also kind when you go somewhere else, and just gently bring your attention back. And we'll slide our attention up to the throat area, where we find the throat chakra. A ball of sky blue light, breathing and pulsing. And that sky blue light is radiating up and down and front and back, and penetrating through our tissues, radiating beyond the edges of our body. And that sky blue color connects us to a certain feeling tone here. which we immerse ourselves in for the moment. And then sliding our attention up to the brow center, in the center of the forehead, of course. Also sometimes called the third eye. Noticing a sense of aliveness or pressure, movement, density, whatever we feel. And here we find a ball of indigo blue light. Like a sapphire, sparkling and radiating all around. And then up to the crown we go, where we find a ball of violet light. And we let our attention rest here. That light radiates up towards the heavens and back down through our whole being, front and back. And now we bring our attention back down into the tailbone, and we imagine that we have nostrils there. And we draw the breath in through the tailbone and up through the center line of the body. And it passes by every energy center that we just visited. And we exhale through the crown of the head. Breath then just rises up and like a fountain, and then cascades back down towards the earth. And we inhale again through the tailbone. We notice that the breath is taking on the color of the centers so that it exits the crown of the head like a rainbow fountain that is rising up and then falling back down towards the earth. And as this rainbow breath passes through our body, it just naturally picks up any energies that have been loosened up by our practice so far, that ride their way on the breath, up and out, and back down to the earth, which absorbs them and transforms them. So the earth is a composting being, and it composts energies as well as physical things. Breaks them down, makes them into nourishing matter. Great. So when you're ready, just gently open your eyes, and we'll start on our tummies. I'm going to suggest that you bring a pillow or a rolled up blanket just underneath your belly. You'll place it just below the navel, and your head is going to rest on the backs of your hands. Your feet are hip width apart, and you can roll your hips side to side just to allow the lower back to have a little bit of movement here. to help any energy flow through the legs. And then we come to stillness. So throughout this practice, use whatever props you have available to make you comfortable. That's the key in restorative, is creating a posture with enough support that your body feels inclined to relax and to let go. At the same time, each posture will be opening up different parts of our body. And so there will be some sensation in certain places. And so we just include what we notice in each posture. And of course, if something is not comfortable, then by all means, do something different. So for example, here you could not use a blanket or a pillow. So you're allowing the hips to settle down onto the pillow or blanket. You're feeling a little bit of pressure in the low abdomen, which is what we want here. And we're continuing to breathe fully, deeply, evenly. And we're feeling our bellies oriented towards connecting to the earth, as though we were plugging in our navel to the earth's navel. Feeling that belly to belly connection. Feeling the skin on the front of our body also connecting down. Maybe there's a place in nature that you really enjoy lying down like this in. Maybe it's the grass somewhere, or a beach, or a big warm rock. So let any images that come just add to your experience and to the feel. Can you soften your shoulders away from your ears? Can you let your buttocks fall away from each other? Your heels roll open as all 10 toes touch the earth. Your face hopefully has the space to just drip and drop and let go into gravity. And we have 3 more deep breaths in. We'll curl our toes under, bring the hands next to the low ribs, and press up and back into child's pose. So just let your buttocks settle back into your heels. Bring your forehead to the ground or to a pillow. Maybe bring your hands together in prayer with your forearms resting on the mat. Just pause here. Feel the breath in the back body. There'll be some pressure in your breath here as it's limited in the front of your body. So perhaps see it as a massage for your inner body, for your organs. A hug from the inside. By the way, I probably should have said this earlier, but if this is uncomfortable for your knees, you can do this one lying on your back, putting your knees into your belly. So we have another minute or so here. And just let your feet come to the mat. If you're in child pose, then flip around onto your back and join us here. And we'll just pause here. The legs are in what we call active rest. Feeling the feet connected down, the big toe mound, the baby toe mound, the inner heel, the outer heel of each foot connected. And if it feels like too much energy to hold them here, then you can just let them fall towards each other. We can let our hands ride on the breath, on our belly. Let's once again bring in that fountain breath. So we're imagining the breath entering through the tailbone, traveling up the center line of the body, exhaling like a fountain through the crown of the head and falling back to the earth. And again, we can see that breath as a rainbow of color moving through the central column and carrying with it any and all energies that are letting go at this time. Great. And so that pillow or that rolled up blanket that you had, just lift your hips and slide it under. Maybe you need to sit up a little bit first to position yourself. However you do it, just The body basically stays the same. We're just resting the hips a little bit elevated here. And once you settle the weight of the hips down, just notice how the low back feels. And if it feels a little bit tender, you can move your pillow up or down. Just find that spot that feels just right for today. Let's take a few breaths to give the pelvis time to settle into gravity. And then we'll press into the back of the head and slide our shoulder blades down a little bit. So once they land again, we should have more surface of the shoulder blades on the mat, and a greater sense of expansion and openness through the chest. Roll the ears back and turn your gaze directly up to the sky, even though your eyes are closed, but there's a sense of the face turning up to the sky. And then just feel the space above you in the front body, a sense of expansiveness, an invitation to freedom. All the while resting into the earth even more. Feel those back low ribs descending. The skin on your face and the front of your body draping like silk over your structure. So it's letting go as well. And then we're going to extend the right leg long. So just let that right leg extend out. You can let it fall open. It's completely relaxed, so you don't have to hold it in any particular position. And you may feel a little bit of a lengthening in the groin, in the belly. So the energy centers really benefit from us moving our spine in various directions. For example, this one is really targeting the root chakra and the sacral chakra, and accessing any rigidity or holding that might be occurring there. And our only real directive here, once we're in the position, is to stay present, stay here, not check out. And through our awareness, relax just a little bit more. It's the seeing of the places that are held that unlocks them. And let's switch legs, please. So just bring the right foot in, the left leg extends out. Each time we come into a new posture, we may be aware that the system contracts or holds back just a little bit as it feels its way into this new shape. And we can assist this process of softening simply by being still, letting the body find its way, staying present, making every part of our being feel welcome through our acknowledgement. And we're going to bend that left leg now, and we'll bring the knees into the chest one at a time. So grab a hold of each knee with your hand, and then begin to stir both knees in one direction. So the knees are together and they're stirring around. Make it small. And then slowly you can increase the range as the system feels safe. We're not forcing anything. We're really letting the body lead us. And let's reverse the direction. Maybe the circles are getting quite a bit bigger now. Great. And let's take the legs right up into the air. Everything's soft, so they don't have to be really straight. You don't have to have flexed ankles. It's like the legs were hanging from the sky. The knees will likely be soft, the ankles slightly open. And it's very rare that we get the experience of allowing at least part of the body to be experiencing gravity in the opposite way that it usually does. So here you might even connect to this subtle sense of energy flowing down the legs. And arriving in the pelvis. And then from the pelvis, it pools there a little bit, fills up, and then cascades down into the rib cage, and eventually up the neck into the head. Another 3 full breaths here. On your last exhale, allow the knees to soften and drop towards your shoulders, or maybe even outside your shoulders. So there's the option of letting your knees fall away from each other as much as they can, so that we get this opening in the groin, in the inner thighs, the adductor muscles, as well as the hamstrings and the back of the legs. And if at all possible, your shins stay relatively vertical, so the feet are still up in the air.
We'll stay here for another minute or so. So it's good to stay to allow the body a chance to adjust, to soften, so that more and more available tissues get touched by the posture. The breath is sweet and long. Now let's just roll our head side to side for these last 3 breaths. Great. Bring the knees back towards each other. Bring the feet flat. Lift your hips. Slide the blanket or pillow out. And then lengthen your legs. You're going to move your, actually before we do that, let's take our arms up above the head so they're reaching alongside your ears, not too close. And your hands will be about shoulder width apart, maybe even wider. So don't scrunch them in. It's kind of hard on most people's shoulders. Great. And then you'll be looking up towards the sky and moving your left leg to the left. And then moving your right leg to the left. So already you're going to feel an opening in the right side of your body, maybe through the hip, through the outer thigh, through the waist, through the ribs. And then we can add to this by moving our left arm to the left, our head, and then our right arm. So we're in what we like to call in yoga bananasana. So our body is in a banana shape. And of course, this is opening up the whole right side of the body. A couple of options here is to grab your right wrist with your left hand, to anchor that there and to help you to maybe use a little less effort to hold your arms to the left. And you can also cross your right ankle over the left ankle, and that too will anchor your legs together, give you a little bit of a different experience. And if it's pleasant, stay. Otherwise, go back to where you were. And make sure that your hips are square. So sometimes people tend to twist on this one, but your ribs are square, your hips are square. Both hip bones are exactly at the same level. And the right ribs are at the same level as the left ribs. Let's just do a little bit of breath work here to help to explore more territory in our tissues. So we'll take a deep breath in together and we'll let it go. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As we clear tension in the physical body, we're also clearing the energy body, because the physical body is energy. And as the energy body clears old residues, it opens the space for freshness, for new ideas, new perspectives, expanded range in our emotional being, creativity, not to mention a greater sense of ease in our physical body, a greater sense of feeling at home in our body. And we'll slowly release this posture back to center, one limb at a time. Take your time. Bring yourself back to a supine position with your arms now again alongside your body. We'll just rest here for a moment, noticing the difference between the right and left side of your body. Maybe you're noticing tingling or sense of flow, most likely in the right side. So after each posture, there is energy being picked up and being directed back towards the chakras, which then digest these energies and release them outwards. We don't have to think about this, it's just happening. The body is oriented towards letting go of anything, any kind of baggage that it won't need for the next part of its journey. Great, let's take the arms back up above the head. Take the right foot to the right, the left foot to the right. Pause for a moment just to feel this in your body. Let the hips land nice and level. Smooth out the breath. And then move the right hand to the right, the head and the left arm. Go ahead and grab a hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Cross your left ankle over your right if that feels comfortable for you. And let's just pause here. And let's breathe together, starting with a big breath in and an exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The breath in yoga is called pranayama, meaning the mover of energy. And so be aware of the breath and notice when you're holding it. Give your attention to the breath, which should pretty naturally bring it to a fuller and fuller place, to a smoother and smoother place. So what I mean by that is just shining the light of your awareness on the breath is often all that you need to set it in the direction of greater flow, greater ease. Greater comfort. Great, and releasing one limb at a time back to center. Bending your knees, bringing your feet as wide as your mat. Maybe bringing your arms out into a T position and tilting your knees to the right, to the left, rolling on the soles of the feet, exploring your range with each pass. Keep going a little further each time. And let's just pause our knees to the left. Just letting the legs fall with gravity. And bring the knees up and over to the right. Letting the weight be fully acknowledged and surrendered to as they drop towards the ground. Great, and one more hug into the belly. Maybe you want to lift your head towards your knees. Maybe you want to roll side to side. And for the final 5 minutes or so of our class, it's yogi's choice. So if you'd like to just lie in Shavasana, which is just basically flat on the ground, maybe putting a pillow or a blanket underneath your knees if that feels more comfortable for your back. Also, as we've done in some of these classes, you can place your legs up on a chair, or you can come to a seated meditation position. is always shining, ever present, everywhere. You can try, but you won't stop it rising. So let your love fill the air. Come on, da 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 da. Come on, da 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 da. Higher like the sun is always shining, ever present, everywhere. You can try, but you won't stop it rising. So let your love fill the air. Come on, da 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 da. Come on, da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Higher like the sun is always shining, ever present, everywhere. You can try, but you won't stop it rising. So let your love fill the air. Come on, da 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 da. Come on, da 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 da. Come on, da 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 da. Come on, da 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 da. So if you're still lying on the ground, I invite you to make your way up to a seated position now. Let's return to that rainbow fountain breath, feeling the tailbone connected to the earth and drawing breath up through the tailbone, feeling it travel along the central column, picking up the colors of the rainbow, and along with that, any energies that are liberating themselves at this time. And exhaling through the crown of the head, up towards the heavens, and back down to the earth. While you do this, notice any shifts in your inner body experience. How does your energy feel? Does it feel more alive at this time, clearer, more harmonious? How do your chakras feel? And whatever you feel is great. There's no set outcome to this kind of work.
We just trust that wherever we are is where we are. But to notice the effects of our practice and to take time to open to that is an important part of a spiritual practice. Where were you at physically, emotionally, mentally, and in your connection to your deepest self prior to our time together? Do you notice any shifts? We certainly need all the help we can get these days. These are intense times as we go through this great turning and care of our bodies, our minds, our souls, our emotional being. It's really helpful, and community can only help to strengthen our practice as we benefit from each other's practice when we come together like this. So thank you for being here. Let's bring our hands together at heart center and we'll chant Om to seal our practice, starting with a cleansing breath. Inhale. Let it go. Inhale. Namaste.